Hey everybody, Brittany here, and today I am going to talk to you about getting ready for online learning this semester. As someone who has done a lot of my undergraduate degree and is currently having to do part of my master's degree online, I totally get the challenges that are unique to the online learning environment. And I know that many of you, whether you're in college or high school, are getting ready to do online learning this coming semester. So I wanted to share some tips with you that helped me be successful with online learning and hopefully will help you be successful with online learning. Tip number one is very simple, and it's get a planner. Now I know that might seem obvious and you might not be a planner person, but one of the things that I found incredibly helpful is having a physical place that I can write down all of the important things happening every week. Now the planner that I got was from Blue Sky, and I think I just got it from Target. And what I really like about this planner in particular is that not only is there a monthly calendar, but they also have each week broken down by day. And in this particular one, there's even little boxes for putting your to-do list in there. And I think that that's incredibly helpful. It really helps me stay organized. No matter what kind of online platform you're using, you probably will have some kind of electronic calendar. But sometimes those calendars can do this thing where they'll show you everything that's coming up all on the sidebar, or you'll have to look at everything all at once, and it can be kind of overwhelming. So what I like is I like to be able to look at 1 week at a time. What do I have going on this week? That way it helps prevent me from getting too overwhelmed and helps me stay on task. The second piece of advice that I have for you is to get a notebook. Now, this might seem kind of old-fashioned. I know, you can take notes on your computer, but studies actually do find that the process of writing something down by hand helps you commit it to memory better. The reason for this is probably pretty obvious. It's because in order to keep up with a lecture, you usually have to condense something down to write it by hand. And that process of mentally condensing something down helps you cement it into your memory. I really like to have these one subject notebooks, and I have one for every class that I'm taking. So in college, that'll probably mean that you'll have 3. The reason that I specifically like these types of notebooks is because they come in a lot of different colors. One pro tip that I have is that I try to choose as many different colors as I possibly can. So if you go to Office Max or Office Depot or whatever your local office supply store is, or even if you get them from Amazon, try to get lots of colors, because you can take them and use a different color for each subject, and that makes it really easy to know which notebook you need for each class. If you're getting ready to go study for a sociology exam, you grab your red notebook and you're ready to go. Now, the third piece of advice that I have is to print your syllabus. Now, whether you're in high school or college, a lot of teachers will give you a syllabus at the beginning of the quarter. The syllabus typically contains important due dates on it, as well as class expectations, reading materials, and what you're expected to know by the end of the course. This is really helpful for you as it helps you kind of get in the mindset of what you're going to be learning that quarter. Now, the reason I like to print the syllabus specifically is because what I do is I will go through and I will highlight each important due date, and I will also put all of those due dates at the beginning of the quarter in my planner. So I don't know if you're like me, but I like to have my planner filled out as far in advance as possible, because what I can do is kind of set it and forget it. Obviously, you're going to be adding stuff throughout the quarter, but if when you first get all of your syllabi? I'll have to think on that. Anyway, when you get a syllabus from all of your different professors, you can take all of them and you can put all of the important due dates for every class that you have in your planner. And what that does for you is it means that if it's 2 months into the quarter and you're feeling really stressed out and overwhelmed and you can't remember what you have going on, all you have to do is look at your planner. You don't have to try to weed through your syllabus and try to remember which class it was that you think you have something due, but you can't remember what class it was due for. If it's all in your planner for every class, then you don't have to worry about it. Of course, you'll need to check your planner throughout the quarter to make sure that it's still up to date if your professors make any changes, which sometimes happens, and you'll probably want to add things like a study session or if you're working on a group project. But really getting those concrete dates in there at the beginning of the quarter allows you to just focus on the task at hand rather than focusing on, am I forgetting this one assignment? The other thing that I like to do with the syllabus is that I will actually take it and I will attach it to the front of my notebook. And so if I have a sociology class and it's in my yellow notebook, I know that the syllabus is stapled to the front, and that way I always have the syllabus on hand if I'm studying, so that I can remember things like rubrics, grading guides, the expectations for different projects, etc. The fourth piece of advice I have for you is to set up a designated workspace. Now, I know that not everybody can do this, but I find that it's really helpful for me, since I've been primarily working from home lately, to have a space in my house that is just for work or just for school. The reason that this helps is the same reason that people find that they have insomnia if they spend all of their time in their bedrooms. Your brain doesn't know that it's switching to a new activity. So if you can, it's really helpful, even if you have a desk in the corner of a room where you normally would watch TV or in the corner of your bedroom. It's helpful if you go sit at that desk when it's time to do work, because that signals your brain that you're switching from whatever you were doing before to now studying or working. I know that it seems like kind of an obvious little thing, but it really can make a difference. And if you're someone like me who's easily distracted, then it can really be the difference between sitting through and flipping through social media and actually getting a decent amount of study time in. The fifth piece of advice that I have for you is to turn off your Wi-Fi while you're studying. Now, you might be going, what? Why would I turn off my Wi-Fi? I need my computer to study. If you have study materials that you can pull from the internet before you're studying officially and have your reading materials handy and then turn off your Wi-Fi, I promise you, you will be able to get more studying done than if you have your Wi-Fi turned on. Why is this? Well, because if you're like me, you're tempted every 15 minutes to check Facebook or to go look up something you're thinking about on the internet. Having your Wi-Fi turned off while you're studying for a test or an exam can really, really help you so that you can focus on the task at hand, get a concerted amount of studying done, and then do your social media time later. Now, we are living in crazy times right now and nothing feels normal. So one of the things that's really important for me is to establish a routine. This helps signal my brain that it's the time of day where we usually do this thing, and so this is what we're gonna do. Now, my routine involves when I first get up in the morning, I'll take my dog for a walk. And then when I get home, I shower, I get dressed, and then I go to work or school. This helps signal my brain because it knows after we do all of these other tasks, we go and it's study time. Whatever your favorite thing to do is in the morning, whatever helps you feel centered and focused, I recommend trying to set a routine and set times that you're always going to be studying or working, and that way your brain will kind of automatically want to click into that activity when it's time to do it. What I like to do is I will actually set specific days of the week that are dedicated to each class. What I did in undergrad was I had a system where I was taking 3 classes, and so for one of my classes, Monday and Tuesday would be the days that I was studying and completing the homework for that class. For the other class, it would be Wednesdays and Thursdays that I was studying and doing homework. And then, of course, for the next class, it would be Fridays and Saturdays, and then I would give myself Sundays off, or more frequently, Sunday would be for catching up on the things that I didn't quite accomplish. Because let's face it, there's always going to be things that you put on your list that you don't get accomplished, and that's okay. I don't know that this tip will work for everybody. This is particularly for me and for all of the other people out there who are fidgeters. But one of the things I really like to do to help myself stay engaged in a lecture is just to move around. Now, this can mean something as simple as standing up and stretching. This can mean that I'm full on doing squats while I'm watching a lecture. Simple rote movements like that help your brain stay engaged because your body is doing something mindless that your brain doesn't really have to focus on. And finally, the last piece of advice that I have for you is just to breathe and go easy on yourself, because these are strange times, and honestly, we're all struggling. We're all working to adapt ourselves to these new circumstances, and you gotta cut yourself some slack. If you're not doing it perfectly, that's okay. If your GPA slips a couple of decimal points, that's also okay. Remind yourself that you are doing all of these incredibly challenging things during a global pandemic, and you're doing the best that you can. So stay positive, try out these tips, let me know how they worked for you, and best of luck next school year.